Hi, everybody. I think we're live. Every month, it's always a question, but I'm getting better. Hopefully, you can tell. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to Hope Talks. If this is your first time joining us, or if you've joined us before, either way, I want to first of all say thank you so much for your support. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for submitting questions and comments. And thank you, for being a part of our Southside Center of Hope family here. It really does mean a lot to us to have you all participating in what we're doing and interested. So, if you're here, please leave a comment. Let us know that you're here. We have, as always, our intern, Alice. She is going to be monitoring the comments for us, responding to all your questions, letting me know if anything important is taking place. I'm kind of just, taking time here to let people get settled, let them log in, join us. And so while we're doing that, if you all would consider sharing this out, we're going to be talking about economic empowerment today. And I just think that's a really important topic, especially right now during this time. There's a lot of uncertainty, economic uncertainty that we're all struggling with, a lot of transitions at home and at work. So I think this is a topic that everyone's going to be pretty excited about. For those of you who don't know, I'll introduce myself. I'm Catherine. I am the Development and Communications Coordinator for Southside Center of Hope. So if you are subscribed to our email newsletter list, I'm the one, sending you all those emails. So hopefully you enjoy them. If you're not familiar with Southside Center of Hope, if you don't receive my emails, my weekly, monthly emails, Southside Center of Hope is a nonprofit recovery home for single women and women with children in Chicago who are experiencing homelessness and are in recovery from addiction. And during this time, the coronavirus pandemic, our services have become so much more important. Not that they always weren't, but a lot of people who maybe previously had kind of been teetering between, making it and not making it. This really has kind of shifted the scales for a lot of folks. So, it's really important that we keep on moving forward with full force. And that's what we intend to do. And that's why we're so thankful for your support. So, Hope Talks, what we're going to be doing today, it's something that we do every month on the third Monday of each month. It's a live stream. And the whole purpose of Hope Talks is to introduce our followers to different community resources and different partners that we work with, and to be able to have conversations about these important topics that impact our community, impact the women that we serve, the families that we serve, and really just to kind of shed a light on what kind of services are out there, and help to remove some of the stigma surrounding homelessness and addiction. Today we're going to, like I said, be talking about economic empowerment. Our special guest, who I'm very excited to have on today, is Lashanda Hayes. She's a senior economic empowerment coach for the YWCA of Chicago. She has worked with a lot of our residents, past and current, to help them find economic empowerment. And, I'll let her tell you a little bit about what that means. But, I was really excited to invite her on so that she could talk to us about the way that things are shifting, the way that the job market is shifting, how career acquisition happens from home. Also, just specifically how women can gain economic empowerment during the COVID-19 pandemic. But those are all things that we'll get into. But as you can tell, I'm very excited about this topic. So one last thing before we get started that I wanted to remind everyone about is that it's September. Hopefully we all knew that. Sometimes it's easy to forget the day, but it is September. September is National Recovery Month. So we're celebrating National Recovery Month. I'm sure if you're following us on social media, you have seen us posting the inspiring recovery stories every week, our community partners every week. But also September is really, really special for us because it is when we celebrate the birthday of one of our co-founders, Sister Teresa O'Sullivan. So all month long, we have been honoring Sister Therese. She has made such a long-lasting impact on, honestly, pretty much everyone she's ever met, from what I can tell. So, on September 27th, which is her actual birthday, it's, I guess, this coming Sunday, we will be having a fundraiser in honor of Sister Therese on her birthday. She will be there at Buena Beef in Orland Park, or you can go to the Buena Beef in Beverly. All that information is available on our Facebook page. If you want to see, what time she's going to be there and get the flyer so your purchase can count towards our fundraiser. Buena Beef has, at those two locations, will be donating 20% of sales made using our flyer for the entire day, delivery or carry out. So like I said, visit our Facebook. There's a ton of information there. We also have just, a monetary fundraiser going on our Facebook page, a birthday fundraiser for Sister Therese that you can donate to. So we'd really appreciate it if you would consider either of those options and, help us to honor Sister Therese and her legacy. And so before I bring out Lashanda, I would like to bring out our executive director, Yasa Hagad. And she's going to talk a little bit about the importance of this topic, economic empowerment. Let's see if we can get her in here. Let's see. Hi, Miss Yasa.
Hey, Miss Katie, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. Can you see me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And we're really getting better at this. So this is
I know.
exciting.
Every week's a little bit better. So I introduced you a little bit, but I do want to give you an opportunity to just go ahead and share with us why you're excited to be talking about economic empowerment today, and especially for women.
So I know I say this every time you have me on before a Hope Talk, but I am very excited about today's topic. We partnered with the YWCA about 2 years ago, and it was just a natural fit for us because of their work for, I think, more than 100 years to improve the lives of women and girls. And so being that our focus is on women, it's been a wonderful partnership for us. As most people know, we exist to combat two social ills, that being homelessness and addiction among women. And the more we come to understand addiction, know about the root causes, we know that addiction exists for many reasons, but one of those reasons for women is poverty. And so that's why we're really big on helping women find gainful employment, and also, as you know, requiring them to save 60% of their income when they are employed. And so the YWCA's focus on financial literacy, job training, leadership development not only empowers women in recovery, but also all women, and really help women to build a strong economic foundation for themselves and for their families. And so I can't wait to hear what you and Lashanda discuss today.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it too. So thank you again for joining us. And I'm going to go ahead and bring on Lashanda.
Okay. As always, thank you for having me, and thank you for facilitating these Hope Talks.
Of course. Okay. Let's see. Now here's the hard part, how to get you out of here. Oh, okay. Okay. So Thank you again, Miss Yasa. It's always so nice to hear from her. She really is uh, spearheading all of our efforts here. None of this would be going on without her. I'm really thankful that we get to have this time during our Hope Talks for you all to hear from her. Um, before we bring in Lashanda, I do want to share just a little bit about her background. Like I said, she's a senior economic empowerment coach for the YWCA. And when I was speaking with her about this conversation, she just let me know that this is a true passion for her, which I think is really powerful. She is just very motivated to help um, adults and also young adults, even, teenagers, to achieve their education and their career goals, to offer them that career and academic advising, get them connected with workforce development programs, get them the tools that they need to prepare for jobs and careers and find economic empowerment. So, without any further ado, um, so I don't just keep talking. I'm going to say one more time, please share this, please comment if you have questions. Alice will be monitoring and letting us know, letting me know what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Lashanda. Let's see. Let's see. Lashanda, can you hear me?
Hi, Katie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am well.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
So it's always funny because I don't really know how to use my laptop. So every month we do this. Miss Yas and I were just saying we get a little better every single time. So thank you so much for
That's
joining me
good.
today on Zoom. I was just telling them a little bit about what you do as an economic empowerment coach, but I know you can probably tell that story a little bit better than I can. So yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to start. If you
Yeah,
could just share with us, as a senior economic empowerment coach for the YWCA of Chicago, what does that mean? And what do you
absolutely.
do? What are your skills? What do what does that mean?
Absolutely. Great question. So if we have time, I just kind of want to start with a little bit of the history about the YWCA
Please.
really quick.
Yes.
So just to kind of give people an idea about the organization, we'll kind of set the tone and help everybody understand why we do what we do for our community members. So the YWCA Metropolitan Chicago pretty much has been around for over 140 years. And it's pretty much a trusted community that focuses and is centered around a mission of eliminating racism, empowering women, and promoting peace, justice, and dignity for all. So we have been serving over 10,000 of individuals, men and women, across over 13 plus square feet throughout the Chicagoland area and across the United States. So just to kind of help understand that piece, will give you a clear understanding about the Economic Empowerment Institute. So the Economic Empowerment Institute, Katie, that pretty much consists of our organization, pretty much supporting communities with transformational services throughout. So the Economic Empowerment Institute is simply designed to rebuild communities, uplift women who live in them, as we tackle that through four key pieces. So when we think of the economic empowerment, just in general, right? We have an Economic Empowerment Institute that consists of four key pillars, and that is workforce development, that is helping women and their families obtain gainful employment. And the other three pieces is financial inclusion, financial readiness. How's your credit? What type of financial goals are you setting for yourself? The other one is business and entrepreneurship. So getting access to capital, maybe taking a side hustle to increase your income, something that you're already good at and turning into a thriving business. And the last fourth pillar is digital literacy. And digital literacy is where community members can take advantage of our computer classes that we have going on virtually. So the Economic Empowerment Institute, when you think about that question of understanding what does that mean, when you think about that, think about the organization, collaborating with the organization that will really help you achieve your goals and really get you from surviving to thriving.
Yeah, that's a lot. It sounds like you do a
Yeah,
lot.
it is. It really is a lot. So when it
It's
comes
very
to
important to
my
know.
department, I work in our workforce development department, Katie, where we run different career pathway programs. And that is where we are able to work closely with women and their families doing one-on-one career coaching, mapping out a career plan, doing career assessments. So not everyone who comes to us know exactly what they want to do, and that's absolutely okay, right? So that's the purpose of working with a career coach, where you can have those one-on-one consultations and really map out a career plan that will help you achieve that goal. So, for example, some of the career opportunities that we look at from a holistic perspective, a general perspective, we have women who want to get into customer service, work from home opportunities, administrative work, hospitality, healthcare, manufacturing, construction, and so forth. And when it comes to our career pathways, we have specialty career pathway programs that really fast tracks a individual's career. So if someone is like, hey, I was thinking about going to school, but I'm not really sure. I have a lot of experience and I really want to kind of focus on those transferable skills and do something that's not going to require a lot of my time, but I want to obtain credentials in a short period of time. And that's where those career pathway
Yeah.
programs come into play.
Yeah, and before I had brought you on, I, mentioned that the services that you offer are services that many of our residents have utilized and found to be so helpful. I mean, I've seen ladies come back from meeting with you just, glowing because they're so excited about, the career path that you're kind of helping them to envision. Um,
Absolutely. That's great to hear. And that's exactly why we do what we do, Katie. And just to, I love to, I have one of my favorite sayings is really meeting people where they are to show them where they can be. Because a lot of times we think we have to know exactly what we want to do for the rest of our lives, right? When we grow up. But it's not that simple, and that's absolutely okay. So the good thing is that you want to create that team of individuals who are really going to help you achieve that goal. So I've met a lot of women who have come from Southside Center of Hope, and they really have that grit. They have that motivation and determination to just start off and say, hey, where do I start? And that's really where the decision comes into play in investing in your career and empowering yourself.
so when it comes to, finding economic empowerment, um, I guess, what do I want to know first? I'm interested to talk about, I guess, first kind of like the challenges that you see, maybe how things have shifted. Um, and then, we can get into like, some services that you're offering. But, I do want to start with, just kind of what you see as being the biggest challenges that women face when it comes to economic empowerment, just to create that point of relatability within this conversation.
Absolutely. Some of the challenges that I see that now there's statistics around it, especially when it comes to women, and this is why we focus on eliminating racism and empowering women through promoting these services of economic empowerment and stability, is because we believe if we empower the woman, we can empower the entire family. So when
Yeah.
we think of a crisis that we're in, the woman is typically the one who can make an executive decision, right? So when you when you ask about barriers, Katie, that's a great question. And some of the barriers tend to be, we don't trust ourselves sometimes, right? We don't trust ourselves to really step forward and achieve the goal that we set out to be. So we offer other additional services throughout our organization, but we see a lot of individuals who have no experience, women who have no experience and are looking to get into the workforce for the work time, or they've been out of work for a certain amount of years. So our population that we service is, just to kind of give you a little history, is 18 and up. So there's a diverse group of women that we work closely with to help them achieve their goals. So some of those barriers could be anywhere from not having enough work experience, right? So how do I tap into my knowledge, skills, and abilities and get someone to see the value in what I have to offer? In addition, educational backgrounds. A lot of times I have a background in higher education where I help students achieve their career goals. So the beauty about, coming to the YWCA is that you have someone who has experience, right, on both realms, where you can really buckle down and say, do I want to fast track my career and start off with a, 8-week training program that is going to get me into the workforce sooner than later? Or do I want to go to a 2-year, 4-year university and move forward? So there could be educational barriers. There could be experience barriers and things of that nature. And a lot of times it could be just the barriers of the proper support in place, right? So, not having childcare available and things of that nature. So the good thing about collaborating with us is that we will look at everything from a bird's eye view, right? So that way we can sit down and talk about on eliminating some of those barriers and reducing them and managing like the interruptions, because the reality is life is going to happen, right? Especially with the crisis that we're dealing with COVID-19. A lot of us are working electronically right now, and with a very few organizations, businesses that are bringing individuals into work at their sites. A lot of employers are recruiting new talent external of their business to work from home. So are you tech savvy, right? So there could be some technical barriers there. And like I mentioned, when you think about the Economic Empowerment Institute, right? If you do have those barriers of not having childcare, not having the technical skills, the basic fundamentals, that's where you could take advantage of our free computer classes that we offer, about surrounded by basic fundamentals, right? Once you get a job and you get your foot in the door, do you have a bank account set up, right? Are you setting financial goals to really transform and transition your life? So there's a lot of, it's really case by case, but I will say, especially with the pandemic going on, a lot of people are enhancing their skill set right now to become more tech savvy, because we're kind of being forced to use technology, right? Where it's really been a part of our lives since the 80s, since it rolled out in the 80s. So, a lot of people are brushing up on how to use the Zooms, the Skypes, and, things of that nature. And, technology is a progressively growing industry. So, there's avenues to really enhance in that area as well.
And so you brought this up already, but I did plan to ask you, how you've seen things change because of the COVID-19 pandemic, whether that's the job market or the way that people are looking for jobs. And you touched on it a little bit, but I want to give you an opportunity if there's anything else you'd like to share about kind of just any shifting that you've seen with your work.
Absolutely. So, even with our career pathway programs, once the pandemic happened and we had to automatically go into quarantine, we really had to assess our clients and see what resources, tools that they had in-house, right? Because we went from literally in the blink of an eye interacting with each other face to face to communicating virtually, right?
Yeah.
So we're discovering that our smartphones are a lot smarter than we thought they were. So it's like, okay, how do I still stay connected and really hone in and monopolize on this opportunity to grow and become more tech savvy. So with the employment side, a lot of employers are still conducting interviews. They are done virtually. And one of the things, the good thing about workforce development is that whenever someone is working with a workforce development agency like the or organization like the YWCA, who offers those economic empowerment pieces or workforce development, is that you're able to really just identify and learn a lot of things sooner than later. Technology has been integrated in the workforce job searching process for years. We went from completing hard copy applications to HR managers, hiring managers, and human resource managers saying, hey, we need you to go online and apply to jobs, right? If you want to be a customer service representative, or you want to be an administrative assistant, or you want to work in our IT department and things of that nature, they really hone in on applying online. So those are the things that we teach when it comes to that, how to conduct an active job search electronically. With the crisis, a lot of the employers they are doing one-on-one interviews, either via phone or via Zoom, just like we're doing here in this session, where that gives them an opportunity to really interact with someone and see where their skill level is, and meet them in a quote unquote face-to-face manner, right? So you're not only selling the fact that you are a great fit for the opportunity when you are virtually interviewing, because now you get to put a face with the name. However, it's an opportunity for you to showcase your skill set as well. Do you know how to use Zoom? Do you know how to use Skype and things of that nature? So with the pandemic, though a lot more people are had to really go from what we know to be normal, right? And transition into a world of virtual reality, right? So being able to connect with us, you'll be able to enhance that skill set and get more practice. So that way you'll be ready and prepared when those employers are conducting interviews with you in a virtual session, because we don't really know when we're going to be able to really interact like we used to prior to March 2020.
Yeah, and I'm glad that, how you just phrased all of that by calling these new opportunities. I think we spend a lot of time thinking about, oh, when is it going to go back to normal? When is everything going to be how it was before? It's really not. We need to embrace it. You need to find the silver lining here. Like you said, we have an opportunity to showcase our skills. We have an opportunity to meet via Zoom. That was kind of the next thing that I wanted to ask you about too. You know, as an economic empowerment coach, I'm sure, when this all happened and we realized we were entering an economic crisis, that had to be a little chilling for you. So I'm just interested to hear kind of how you've been able to stay positive and keep that positive outlook on this and find those silver linings.
Absolutely. Great question, Katie. I am a mother of a 9-year-old fourth grader, right? So, with the pandemic happening, one thing I like to help people really understand first before I get into that is that this crisis has affected the world, right? It doesn't see women, it doesn't see men, it doesn't see a specific demographic. It has affected everyone in some way, shape, or form. That's the reality of it, right? So it's, really finding a way to transform the mindset and become positive. You asked some of the things, how did I remain positive through this process? A lot of times one strategy that I actually did when we first went into quarantine, it was like, everyone was just trying to figure it out, right? Like, so where do we go from here? What do we do next? We don't know when the world is going to open back up to us. It's just a lot going on, and our minds were full, right? Mind full, full of anxiety, full of the unknown, the fear of the unknown. How do we adjust through this process? So one of the tips I actually did for myself, I said, well, I'm still working, right? I'm still working. So how do I prepare at home and stay into the work mentality so that way I can be the best that I can be for community members? So I had to really practice what I preach, right? So I would get dressed in the morning to do my virtual meetings and would get on Zoom calls. There's different strategies and tips that I usually talk about in my career readiness. Even when it gets to that whole interviewing piece, I tend to advise my clients, dress for the job you want to be in, and also realize that dressing, when you dress a certain way, you feel a certain way. So,
Yeah, that's
when
very
if
true.
I'm in my pajamas and I'm on a business meeting, I'm probably not going to feel business like. I'm
Yeah.
probably going to turn off my camera and just be there, but not be there. Right. So, I really had to transform the mindset and say, hey, there's still a job to be done. There's still a community that is relying on the services and programs that we are all offering. So I really had to self reflect and make sure that I was doing self care, right? Making
Mhm.
sure my mind wasn't full, but I was being mindful of the things that was going on and really taking time to map out a plan of action. And hone in on a new skill. I use this time to really be creative. When we think about the prior to COVID, in our workshops, all of our workshops were very interactive. So the one of the
Yeah.
things that I started to do was immediately see how I could transition and make the virtual sessions interactive, right? Because this is, like you mentioned, this is our new norm, and it's really forced us to be reactive, but there's also success in this in this process. There's light at the end of the tunnel in this process. A lot of individuals are learning a new skill set. This is really one of the best times to really buckle down and think about what you see yourself doing career assessments, identifying job opportunities, conducting research. There may have been a specific industry that you wasn't really sure that you wanted to get into as a job seeker. So really tapping into exactly what do I see myself doing? Let me reach out to a career coach and have that conversation and say, I'm really trying to figure out what I see myself doing throughout this process. So for me, that's what I had to do. I really had to buckle down and focus on creative ways to do different sessions. Throughout the pandemic, I have hosted Facebook Live sessions with human resource managers. For example, we collaborated with one of our medical industry partners where the human resource manager was able to talk about building a career in the healthcare industry. So really finding ways to be innovative and creative through the
Yeah.
process was extremely important to me because I knew, especially with everything that was going on, the unemployment rate was extremely high. So how do we as an organization and I, as an individual, contribute to make sure that candidates are prepared for those opportunities? Because the opportunities, again, employers are still sourcing for talent at this time. They're still looking to fill some positions. Now is the decision is on us as job seekers to determine if we want to take on those
Mhm.
opportunities.
And you had mentioned that you have a 9-year-old son at
Daughter.
home. At home, is he doing school well, you don't have to share too much, but I'm just curious if you're doing the e-learning at home or what's going on with that, because I think that's a situation that a lot of women are experiencing right now. You know,
Absolutely.
how do I balance my career and now this added, not that being a mother wasn't always a huge responsibility, but now to be kind of totally responsible for making sure that your child is participating in their schooling. So I'm just interested kind of how you foresee this taking on this homeschooling role or even just assisting with e-learning. How do you foresee that affecting women's economic empowerment?
Absolutely. So my daughter, she is again in fourth grade, Katie, and it was completely an adjustment. We are doing virtual learning as of last week. She's 2 weeks in now. So mommy feels like she's doing the virtual learning as well. And just to be completely transparent, it is extremely overwhelming. And the reality is, as a mother, right, as a parent, we have a responsibility to our children. Our children really looks for us to kind of determine what type of person they want to be. So, I had to immediately react and adjust throughout this process as well. So, it's not an easy process, but we started with the schedule. So we sat down. Of course, the first week, you really don't know what it's going to be like. You don't know what's going to work unless you try it. Right. So what I did, a few things that I did with my daughter was really put her on a schedule. So we are doing virtual learning, and also being a part of an organization that is supportive of the process, right? The
Yeah.
reality is a lot employers are affected as well. So employers completely understand that right now this is the way of the world, right? So it's not a high expectation of the hey, you have to be at work, you don't forget about your children. That's not how it's working right now. The world is really adjusting and figuring it out on their own. So there is opportunity for mothers, especially those mothers like myself who are looking to pretty much get back into the workforce or just balance it as well.
Yeah.
So some of the tips and strategies is really to start off with a plan, create a plan and stick to it, right? My daughter, we have a schedule for her e-learning portion, and then also a schedule for homework assignments, right? So after e-learning, what does that schedule look like, right? What does it look like for my work schedule? My schedule is really flexible, so I'm really finding benefits in sticking to that schedule. So if I commit to something, it's really mapping out and committing to commit and really being productive throughout the process. It is absolutely challenging, and I can totally relate to a lot of the mothers who are going through the things right now, especially with e-learning. But I will tell you, starting off with the schedule, and then if you're not sure what that schedule should look like, map it out with your employer. If you're currently working, map out that schedule with your employer and help them understand what the situation is as
Yeah.
well. And also have a conversation with a mentor, a coach. I am a senior economic empowerment coach at the YWCA, but my clients, we always have conversations and bounce those ideas off of each other. So if someone is unsure, that's where we can have that conversation and
Mhm.
really dissect what the schedule should look like, because if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. That's the good thing about it. So even when e-learning started with Chicago Public Schools, it was the fear of the unknown. A lot of people didn't know exactly what to do. And children, especially depending on the age of your child, you're going to be required to give them a certain level of attention. So it's really important to have a schedule. When my daughter is in e-learning, the first few weeks, we really took that time where I was there to support her, and I adjusted my work schedule so that way she could get my undivided attention. And then when I was at work, I was at work,
Mhm.
right? So being able to be effective and efficient in my process of doing my job and adjusting my schedule that way. So I will tell to our viewers today, don't be discouraged by that. Don't be discouraged by the fact that we are doing everything virtual right now, but be empowered. Be
Yeah.
empowered to say, you know what, this is a process. And in order for me to not just survive and thrive, let me communicate with someone to map out a plan of action so I can adjust. Because again, we don't know what will work, and we can't measure the success of something unless we try it.
So I'm glad that you mentioned, flexibility, and um, I feel very fortunate. My job is very flexible. My boss is very understanding. It sounds like you have a similar
Yes.
situation, but there are some people that don't. Um, my cousin, she has a daughter who just started kindergarten, and her job has offered her the flexibility to be home with her daughter 3 days a week to help with virtual learning, but that time is unpaid. So while she's not losing her job, her hours are being cut. She's kind of like at a loss. Where can I make up this extra money? And I think that's a situation that a lot of women are going to run into as well.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit too. What advice do you have for women who are looking to gain economic empowerment but have limited flexibility? Like, what are some things that we can do from home to help fill in those gaps and make sure that we still are prioritizing our children?
Absolutely. And that's a great point, like you mentioned with your cousin, there are some employers that, don't have that flexibility. So when you think about kind of bridging that gap, tapping into other opportunities where you could expose yourself to different job opportunities that will work around your schedule. So that's where we would have conversation to talk about what you see yourself doing. Is there's an opportunity to take on additional job opportunity to supplement the income that may be missed, right? But in addition, that's where when I think about our business and entrepreneurship program, right? Everyone has a skill set. Everyone has a skill set that you have contributed to a business at some point in your life if you work, or you've obtained a new skill set from a business, from a job that you have worked. So there's opportunities to really turn that skill set into a side hustle and work from home as well. One of the things, like even for me, I tend to do cosmetology every now and then as a working mother, doing hair. So really tapping into things that you're good at and having a conversation with a coach like myself to say, hey, how do I start this? Where do I start? Like and brainstorming those ideas to help with those additional incomes. And it also goes into really tapping into your career goals as well. The thing about the workforce development team, we don't only just help people get jobs, right? When we think about once you get a job, we focus on retaining that job. And in
Mhm.
order for you as a woman to grow, in order for you to grow and soar, you really have to be the captain of your own ship. And it's absolutely okay to really self-reflect and say, okay, what can I do? How can I grow my finances overall? And that's that comes through maybe finding opportunities that will increase your finances, right? So you're being very strategic in your process of employment. So a lot of times we have individuals who are currently working with us who are employed and they're looking for better opportunities. So it doesn't just start from scratch of not having a job, but how do you grow in your career and find the opportunity that's going to be the best fit for you as well overall? And that's really tapping in and saying, okay, what am I good at? What skill sets do I have? And really negotiating with that existing employer or new employers moving forward. Because it's not easy, right? A lot of times we think that we have to stay with a job for the next 10 years, but employers want to hire people or employers really hire people that they like, right? So how do you build and foster those meaningful relationships so that way you can achieve the financial goal and the job title goal that you set for yourself? So really just mapping out that plan of action to say, hey, what do I see myself doing? Because again, there are, even if there's part-time opportunities, and also people have reduced a lot of hours. A lot of people have
Mm.
been so affected by the pandemic where they have been let go from job opportunities due
Yeah.
to the situation and not being able to manage the schedule, and the employer wasn't as flexible or as friendly. So that's where it's going to be extremely important to have a conversation with the workforce development team at the YWCA to really map out that plan, and so that way we can empower you to be that captain of your ship and expose you to the opportunities where you can say, okay, this is what I'm looking for, because that's where those honest conversations come into play. there's kind of like a misconception of like the whole interview process. Well, like I'm not supposed to ask about salary, or I'm not supposed to, ask the employer the specific details about this. Interviewing, it, to be honest, is a conversation. It's not an interrogation, even though it feels like it sometimes.
Yeah.
Not an interrogation. It's a win-win between two individuals who just need to converse and see if they are willing to commit with each other. So the employer, they're just as nervous as the job seeker is when we think about that whole interviewing process and mapping out what we see ourselves doing. So working with myself and our team, really to say, okay, well, I know I have a child who is going to need a lot of my time, but I also want to invest in my career. I'm ready to get into the workforce. How do I start that? And that's where it starts, is having that conversation and really being completely honest and transparent with yourself, because once you're honest and transparent with yourself, you can be extremely honest and transparent with other people. So I had to, even with my situation and working from home with my daughter, I had to say, the reality is I need to work as a professional, right? And I have not only a family that needs me, but also a community who is relying on me, and the knowledge, skills, and abilities that we have to offer as an organization. So how can I really set back and look at everything from a bird's eye view, so that way I can ensure that I'm staying on track to not only help others achieve their goals, but also achieve my own professional, personal goals. And that's the advice that I would give to someone, especially looking, who is kind of like in that the fear of the unknown, because a lot of times we fear what
Yeah.
we don't understand, right? So it's really moving that backpack of fear and starting with the conversation.
Mhm. So, with all that being said, I do want to ask you, the last thing I want you to share with us is just, how women can connect with you as an economic empowerment coach, and, how can they connect with these other resources that are offered to them through the YWCA?
Absolutely. So we have, like I mentioned, we have lots of orientations that we post on our website. You can check out all of the services. We have a plethora of services. And again, we have something for everyone that we offer at the YWCA. And for our department, our economic empowerment department, just to get started, and even if you're looking for our counseling services, our childcare services, they could connect through our orientation that we have every Monday at
Mhm.
10 a.m. And that information, you'll connect with Stephanie Porter. And I would love if we could share that information with the group today, Katie, but they can contact me directly, and I'll be able to get them connected with the appropriate department. And my email address is lashanda.hayes@ywcachicago.org. And
Perfect.
I
Yeah.
can be reached via phone at 312-439-6229. Again, that number is 312-439-6229.
And
And
we can put that in the comments below
yes,
too.
if we could
So.
put that, I would love to put that in the comments, and pretty much just taking it from there. But we have orientations every Monday at 10 a.m. And that's where you can really get an overall synopsis of the services that we have to offer. And again, we really just focus on meeting people where they are to show them where they can be. So orientation takes place again every Monday at 10 a.m. And then that's where you can determine what you see yourself doing based on the information that you hear. Do you want to find an opportunity? Are you looking to get your resume updated? Are you looking for financial inclusion, computer class workshops, obtaining gainful employment overall? So all of that information is talked about in our orientation in detail, and we'll get your application started and we'll take it from there. There's a plethora of services that we do offer to our community members, and all of that information is on our website as well at www.ywcachicago.org.
Perfect. So, I am out of questions for you. Um, If there's anything else that you would like to share, you're welcome to. Otherwise, you can just tell everybody goodbye.
Yeah, thank you so much, Katie, for this opportunity. I
Yeah.
will leave with this is that, stay encouraged, stay empowered through this process, and remember that you don't have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have to do it alone. A lot of times we think about building a career and just trying to manage life and manage the interruptions that we do have, right? How do we map out the schedule and manage the interruptions? Someone is always relying on me to do this, then the other, but I haven't really taken time to take care of myself. Don't be afraid to really invest in yourself, right? Really focus on how can you collaborate with us and get from that surviving to thriving, because we're here to assist. And I would love to connect with anyone. I'm not sure if anyone is live to have questions, but please feel free to reach out to us directly, me in particular. And thanks for having me
Of
overall.
course.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
I'm so glad you were able to join us. And, before I even brought you on, I was telling everyone that, that you're always such a joy to speak with, and that you've been so helpful to not only our residents, but to me as well. This is probably the second or third time I've put you on the spot to talk about economic empowerment. So thank you for always being available to us and supporting us as a community partner.
Absolutely. Anytime. To my extended family, thank you so much for having me again.
Of course. So I will let you go, and then I'm going to say just a few more closing remarks here. But thank you again. Goodbye,
Have a
Lashanda.
good one. Have a good one,
Have a
everybody.
good week. Okay. So now I guess it's just back to me. I don't have too much to say before I close out. I just wanted to again say thank you. Hopefully that information that Lashanda was sharing with you is helpful. Um, I do think that it's really important as things are shifting. There's a lot of uncertainty, that we're able to stay positive. So I'm very glad that she was able to also push that message forward. Things are different, but there's still opportunities. There's still, things to be thankful for, and, um, you know, a brighter future ahead of us, I guess is what I'll say. I don't want to go on for too long. Um, so thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this later, please feel free to leave comments. I'll be monitoring them throughout the week. If you have any more questions, we will make sure Lashanda's contact information is in the comments below. You can look for it there. Please, while you're here, check out the rest of our page. Take a look at our fundraiser coming up for Sister Teresa's birthday. We also have a live graduation ceremony that we're going to be hosting tomorrow. So if you're free at the same time, tune back in. We'll be back on live, celebrating some of our recent program graduates. And then also, it's National Recovery Month. So if you have any stories of recovery that you'd like to share with us, just reach out to me through Facebook or through email. It's Catherine.Newman@sscoh.org. And yeah, I think that'll do it for today. But as always, tune back in. This time next month, the third Monday of every month, we'll be doing Hope Talks. I haven't set a topic for next month yet. So if you have any ideas, please share them with me. And I will keep you all updated on who our special guest for October will be. Thank you again for tuning in. Have a nice week.